Hello and welcome to another in the 10-minute tip series of programs. This one is entitled Mechanics Liens. My name is Michael Dennis. I'll be your presenter today. Let's begin with an introduction. So what is a mechanics lien? We've heard the term, but what does it really mean? Well, it's a lien that gets placed on real property. A lien is a legal claim by a creditor against real property, against a piece of land. A mechanics lien specifically can be filed by anybody providing labor or materials in connection with work done on the property. So generally, a mechanics lien gets filed by a contractor or a subcontractor, a laborer, or a creditor, a company that provides materials for work to be performed on a piece of property. So these types of liens, called mechanics liens, are primarily used in the construction industry, but they're also used by creditor companies that sell products that are used by construction companies. The goal of the mechanics lien process is to make sure that subcontractors as well as suppliers get paid. The mechanics liens laws are not one set of laws for all 50 United States, and instead they're quite different. The mechanics lien process is governed by statutes in each of the 50 states, so they're all different. As it relates to mechanics liens, the basic questions that need to be answered by a creditor company that's providing services to a construction site are whether the lien that they want to file is proper, who specifically is entitled to assert this lien, how to file the lien itself, and more specifically, what type of notice or notices are required in connection with creating a mechanics lien that's enforceable in the event that you, the creditor, don't get paid. Liens. It's important for you to know, in connection with the mechanics liens, that deadlines are critical. It's critical that you know what the deadline and deadlines are in order to preserve your lien rights. Notice requirements are also important. Many states require that the party intending to file a lien provides a preliminary notice to the property owner. That preliminary notice is either done prior to providing, if in our context, delivering goods to the construction site, or shortly after providing goods or services to the location. It's important as a trade creditor that we perform necessary due diligence in connection with the lien, because what we need to do is we need to ensure that the documentation is correct. And one of the things that we need to make sure is that any underlying contracts are with the current owner of the property. So fundamentally, what mechanics liens do is provide you as a creditor with some type of security in connection with the work that you've done or the services you've provided or the goods you've delivered to private property. What a lien does once it's in effect is it restricts, you might say prevents, the owner of the property from selling it, from refinancing it, or from transferring that property without some effort on their part to clear the mechanics lien. We're going to talk about a 5 basic step process in connection with mechanics liens. The first step is to read and understand the applicable lien law. And as I mentioned, the laws are different in each of the 50 states. So you have to know the rules and regulations, the statutory requirements, the notice requirements in the state in which you intend to file the lien. And you need to determine what, or whether I should say, state law allows you to file a lien. And again, generally speaking, you do if you're a contractor, subcontractor, and or a supplier. 3, find out if you need to provide a preliminary notice. If you do have to provide a preliminary notice and you fail to do so because you fail to appreciate the idea that you have to do so, then your preliminary lien notice and the failure to provide it may prevent you from enforcing your rights that you would otherwise have in connection with the mechanic's lien. So you need to find out if you need to give preliminary notice, and then you need to give the notice, and that notice needs to be sent by certified mail, and importantly, the right notice within the right time period sent by certified mail, because again, deadlines are relevant. If, for example, it says the preliminary notice must be given within 5 days of first delivery of goods to this site, and you wait 6 days, that could invalidate, it could void your ability to perfect your mechanic's lien to enforce your right to payment for the products that you delivered to the worksite. Step 2, draft the lien. Generate or produce the lien document, correctly identify the property, and importantly, because this is a very structured process, you cannot make typographical errors, you cannot make formatting errors. You need to make sure that the document is, for all intents and purposes, perfect. Number 3, file the lien. We format the document properly, we've validated that it's in the right form, we've highlighted the words that need to be highlighted, we've used the right size font, we've identified the location properly and the owner properly. Now we need to file the lien. We format the document, we pay the correct filing fee, we avoid any errors in the document itself, and we file with the correct recording office, the government office in which mechanics liens for that job site in that state need to be recorded. Step number 4, notify the relevant parties. Serve the appropriate parties with written notice, and do so promptly, ideally immediately. And if you are required by state law, and you might be, you may need to serve, may need to provide notice to other required notice recipients. Again, if you fail to follow the rules, if you fail to notify the other required notice recipients, you may not be in a position in which you are able to enforce your mechanic's lien rights. Number 5, enforcing your lien, because that's what you want to do ultimately if you don't get paid, is to enforce your lien rights. Each of the states and each state laws and regulations provides a mechanism for the party holding a mechanic's lien to enforce their lien rights. It's important to know that unfortunately, from our perspective as creditors, a lien is only enforceable for a limited period of time. And you cannot enforce any collection efforts until the lien has been recorded. Generally speaking, if you have a lien and you don't get paid in spite of the fact that you have lien rights against this piece of property, generally speaking, you're going to need an attorney to enforce the lien rights. And with that in mind, assuming that the attorney recommends that you file a lawsuit, that lawsuit must be filed in a timely manner. Otherwise, the lien rights that you have could expire. I want us to take a moment and talk about the Miller Act. The Miller Act is a federal law. It does apply to all 50 states. The Miller Act eliminates the need for mechanics liens in one specific scenario. It eliminates the need for mechanics liens in connection with federal construction contracts. So what the Miller Act says is that the contractor, the party that's negotiated with the government, is required to create or file performance and payment bonds in connection with any federal construction contract for over $100,000. What the performance bond does is it ensures that the contractor, the general contractor, fulfills its obligations. For example, if they commit to build a tunnel, the performance bond relates to the building of the tunnel. The payment bond in connection with building of the tunnel protects suppliers and other parties that provide services like subcontractors and materials like trade creditors to that tunnel to enable the contractor to build the tunnel that the government has ordered. In addition to the federal government, there are many state and municipal government contracts over a very specific dollar amount in most cases that will require the general contractor to provide or to post a payment bond. The goal, once again, is to ensure that subcontractors and suppliers of labor and suppliers of material to that state or municipal construction project get paid by the contractor. Thank you very much for participating and attending. This is another in the 10-minute series. I hope you found it useful and helpful. Have a great day.